Hello everyone, my name's Idiotic Synergy and today we're talking about the Corpse Grinder Cult Gang. Because they're really good in Necromunda, surprisingly so, because though they might not have a lot of shooting, they have a lot of melee to fuck you up with. With some really good skills, and I do mean really good, and they've got some really decent gear and they're terrifying to fight against. If you're playing a Corpse Grinder Cult Gang in Ash Waste, however, you might be sniped quite easily. In Zone Mortis, or just indoors in any sort of Underhive scenario, you're getting shanked by these guys. They run the Underhive. They are the most vicious gang in the game, and I love them. Because they are just brutal, they're really good, they're big, beefy men, and if you're a fan of abs, then whoa, look at this guy here. All of a sudden, every Adeptus Ridiculous fan is just going right now. Sorry for that sound effect, but it's true. Basically, the Corpse Grinder Cult Gang want your meat, and they don't care whether or not you give permission. Though that might sound rude, they just want to chop you up into little tiny bits and eat you, because Corpse Grinder cults are a bit insane like that. And also they're prime cultists. Seriously, if you want a decent Khorne cultists, these were made before the new Khorne cultists were even a thing. These are peak Khorne cultists, and I wish more people used them because I love their models. They are brilliant. They are a bit old, but they are brilliant, and I love them. But at the same time, I will never forgive the wanker that introduced them in the Dark Vengeance box and put them up against enforcers in Zone Mortis. Whoever designed that box, you're a knob and I love you, but just why enforcers? It's like, yes, we have a melee army and Zone Mortis is very close range. What gang should we put in to fight these guys? Should it be Goliaths? No, let's put enforcers. It was such an unfair box. Like, if you want a game to get you into Necromunda, play that, but don't tell your friends that you're going to play Corpse Grinder Cults. just let them be enforcers and just run at them. If you ever want to roleplay what it's like living in London, just play Corpse Grinder Cults or play enforcers in the Dark Vengeance box. Yeah, I think that's what the campaign box was called. Oh, it was such a brutal game as well. It's so good. But these are the models, and I absolutely love them. I might actually use them for my... No, I won't use them. Because though it would be cool to have these guys as for House Khorne cultists, they... There is a problem with that. And that is probably they look a bit more... I don't know. I don't know if they would fit the theme of House Khorne. Though I do like their arms. If I can get the arms separately, then that would be fine. Out of context, that sounds weird. But they do have some really cool guns. Though, to be fair, their guns is only their arms, because look at those arms. But, you know, who uses Corpse Grinder Cults for the guns? You use them for the weapons. And the horrible, unbalanced skills that they have. And yeah, I really want a gang of Corpse Grinder Cults. However, House Khorne has it's just my chosen gang, House Khorne. That and Ogryn. Even Ogryn can't stand up to Corpse Grinder Cults in close combat. Toughness 5, sure, but they get a lot of brilliant and horrific weapons. They are quite dangerous in the old close quarters combat, and they should be, because they're Corpse Grinder Cults. It'd be a bit weird if they weren't, but it should show you what they do in game. So, if you're still watching this, thank you, but let's get into the rules, because I need to show you some jank. So, these are the rules, and oh boy, let's start with the Butcher. Weapon skill 2. It's 130 credits, weapon skill 2. The Vansars are brilliant at shooting. These guys are brilliant at melee. They are to melee what the Vansars are to shooting. However, they are tougher than the Vansars, and they are just better than the Fansars. Though the Fansars have their own janky stuff, these guys will just stab you in the face because they are that good. They are that good at stabbing people in the face. It is like living in London. If you want to roleplay the London experience, pick up this gang and just... That's it. As long as you're not playing Ash Wastes, you should be fine. If you're playing Zone Mortis and you use this gang, you are evil. There is nothing more evil than someone playing Zone Mortis and using this gang because it's all close quarters. There is a lot of jank that comes your way. It's like, oh, close quarters, and then all of a sudden you just see a horde of corpse grinder cults coming your way to smash in your face. Yeah, it's not a forgiving game, Necromunda, and if you play corpse grinder cults, you will win at least one game with them. I guarantee you that. Though, to be fair, that can be said about any gang. Even Enforcers, which... Yeah, I ain't the best at Necromunda, granted, but even so, Enforcers are still naff, and I stand by that opinion. I might be shit at Necromunda, but that opinion is valid. Anyway, so, the leader, Butcher, movement 5, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 4... It doesn't matter about ballistic skill because you're not going to use it, you're just going to give him melee weapons. Strength 4, toughness 4, same toughness as a Goliath. Yeah, strength 4, toughness 4, same as a Goliath, mate. Yeah, it's just done. It's just done. If you're fighting a toughness 3 gang, enjoy wounding on 3s. Or 2s. That happens sometimes. Wounds 2... Initiative 4, which is a bit average, if I'm being honest, but I guess they can't be broken all the time. Attacks 2, Leadership 5, Cool Check 5, Willpower 5, Intelligence 7. Primary skills, I want to get to the primary skills as soon as possible, but we'll get there when we get there. Mask Butcher, which the masks are explained further down here, which... we'll get into in just one moment. Plate mail armor, which is quite decent because survivability and close combat. You get first to the fray. Charge distances move plus d6 instead of d3. Usually in Necromunda, to charge, it is your movement plus d3. So you can't make an 11-inch charge. With the Butcher, you can make an 11-inch charge, and depending what skill you give them, they can charge so... I need to get into the skills. There's a skill that is always outlawed. There is one skill that always seems to be banned, and it isn't just my group. It's a lot of groups will ban this skill, and you probably might know what it is, but if you don't, please stick around. Blessed by the Lord of Skin and Sinew sounds like a Night Lord thing, but it's not. Basically, they worship Khorne, because of course they do. And if everyone agrees, apply this optional special rule where you make a willpower test. Add a +3 modifier if this fighter took an enemy fighter. Urua! What is that? Urua! Urua! Okay, it means out of action. I'm just fucking around. In this fighter's previous activation. If successful, add 1 to the strength, toughness, and attacks. Like they need more attacks. Oh boy, the weapons you can give them. Even if you give them 2 knives, it's really powerful. Because then they get backstab and it's just awful. And after the activation, you roll a 4 to remove 1 flesh wound or heal a wound. You can heal their wounds, mate. They're powerful. They are a powerful gang. Praise be to Khorne. However, if you fail, suffer an injury roll, which could mean ooh-ah, or out of action, or seriously injured, or just flesh wounded. Which puts your flesh wound, which puts down your toughness to a mere 3. Isn't like most gangs already have a toughness 3. The only thing that's better than a toughness 4 is an Ogren gang, where you're toughness 5, but these guys do not give a single solitary shit about your toughness, because they just want to chop you up into little tiny pieces. But that's just the leader that's toughness 4, because the champion is toughness 3. And when I first saw that, I thought that was a bit weird, but, you know, yeah, they're toughness 4. Leaders toughness 4, the rest of them toughness 3. Strength 4, though, they're really quite strong. Yeah, they can outfight a Goliath if they so wish. They also get a mask and plate mail armor. They get 1 primary custom and close combat. But their weapon skill is 3, strength 4, toughness 3, 2 wounds, initiative 4, movement 5, 2 attacks, leadership 6, cool check 6, willpower 7, intelligence 8. So, yeah, and they also get the same blessed by the Lord of Skin and Sinew. Pressed the wrong button. What button did I press? I don't know what to... Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. So, Ganger, Specialist. They get Berserker. Of course they do. Basically, it gives them a +1 to charging. Yeah, because they only get 1 attack. You know, only get 1 attack. But unlike Enforcers, where it's a ball like, if you charge in, you get +1, and it depends on the melee weapons they get. Must be nice. Their weapon skill is 3, movement 5, ballistic skill 5. It doesn't matter. You're not going to give them pistols, even if you say you're going to give them pistols. You're not, because you give the Juves pistols. If you're weird, you just give everybody melee weapons and just see what happens. But strength 3, toughness 3. So they're not as strong as Goliaths, but still pretty effective. Wounds 1, initiative 4, attacks 1, leadership 7, cool check 7, willpower 8, intelligence 9. The Juve is quite cheap. Both of these are quite cheap, and for some reason it says specialist. I don't know why. That seems really weird. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So the Juve has the infiltrate skill. Yeah, the Juve is 25 points and it's got infiltrate as standard. Yeah, expect a lot of weird turn 1 charging with initiates. It's brutal. It really is brutal. So movement 5, especially Zone Mortis, because you will just have to fight off a bunch of Juves, which might not sound bad, but their weapon skill is 4. Ballistic skill is 4. That's quite good for Juves, and average for Enforcers. Strength, toughness 3, wounds 1, initiative 4, attacks 1, leadership 8, cool check 7, willpower 9, intelligence 9. And they too get a mask, and it's flak and flak armor, which is also quite nice. So what does the mask do? Well, it's a +1 to your save, and when you roll a 6 when suffering a head injury or eye injury, you change it into a grievous injury and sent into recovery. So, the Ganger has fearsome, which means that if anybody's going to charge you, they need to do a willpower test to charge you because you're fearsome. Terrifying, however, is something unique, and that's only what the champion gets. So, pass a willpower test to target this fighter with a fight basic or shoot basic, or the action ends immediately. So you want to shoot this guy. You aim and shoot this guy, but you have to pass a willpower test to aim and shoot the champion. Yeah, enjoy that, or even fight back. However, it does say the action does not count as being performed, so the same action can be attempted again, which is good because it means that if you fuck up fighting the first time, you can fuck up fighting the second time. It's horrific what that does, and makes you quite evil. And yeah, wait till we get into the skills. Wait till we get into the skills, because their skills are awful. Yeah, they can take hand flamers, but you don't with these guys. Ignore the pistols. You can take a stub gun, which, alright, or an auto pistol. You can even take a that surprised me. Why can you take a flamer? What? Hang on, what? I've never seen such a waste of a special weapon before. Since when are you going to take... Right, ignore the weapons that aren't close combat. Because the boning sword, which sounds wrong, is really good. The cleaver is really good. And if you have it paired, that's an extra attack and is quite menacing and evil. You can have a knife or flensing knife. Depends how much you hate your opponent. A two-handed saw, or a heavy rock cutter, or rotary flensing saw. Or an axe, if you want to go Jack Nicholson on some people. And, yeah. I've been watching Shining again. It's so good. Here's Johnny! It's such a good film. But, yeah. The armor, you can have an armored undersuit, which you might want to get. Plate mail mesh, I think it's just a 5-up save. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look at what plate mail does and jump cut to it, I'm afraid. But they get a hazard suit and armored undersuits, which might be worth bringing it. It's up to you. The hazard suit is always quite a nice get because it just makes you immune to blaze condition and toxic stuff. Not from the environment, though. That's something we learned the hard way, or one of us learned the hard way in a campaign. Because a friend of mine brought all hazard suits, and we were playing Ash Wastes. Turns out that the Ash Waste weather will just set you on fire, even if you have the hazard suit. It's Necromunda, it doesn't need to make sense. But yeah, it's brutal. Of course they have grenades. Smoke might be a must. I will say, smoke is always a good shout. Just because then you can hide behind it quite easier. So, because you're quite close quarters, if you're playing Ash Wastes, I highly recommend smoke. Unless someone, say, has a infosight, or an infrasight, then I get to shoot you anyway with a sniper rifle. It's like the one good thing my enforcers have is an infrasight. It's like, oh, smoke, hello, smoke, I've got an thermal vision. Poof, I killed you. Goodbye, fucker. Oh dear, as much as I hate enforcers, when they work really well. Yeah, the sniper is surprisingly good. Who knew? So, I'm gonna have to look up what plate mail does, because I don't know. Then I can show you their skills. Because their skills are brutal. Their skills really are something else, and there is one skill they have that is universally banned. I'll show you what I mean. But, plate mail, and it'll probably be a very quick jump cut. So, let's go! So, plate mail is a 6-up save, however it's 5 from the front arc, so it's effectively 5 because you are running at your opponent at Mark 5 speed, and 5 unmodifiable against blast, so quite useful against the old blast weapons. That's it. Skills. So this is savagery, and you might be wondering what's the 6th skill. The 6th skill is the banned one. A lot of people ban this from the game because it's too good, and it makes you into an incredible dick if you choose it. So we're going to go through the basic ones. Avatar of Blood, discard a flesh wound for every unsaved wound inflicted against an enemy with a melee weapon. That one's quite useful, especially if you're at like toughness 1 and you do a bunch of flesh wounds to someone, then you get all those, then you'll back up to toughness 3 or even toughness 4. Bloodlust, consolidate 2 inches after performing a coup de grace, which is just a curb stomp. That one nobody really brings. Crimson Haze, automatically pass nerve tests when engaged. Basically, if one of your friends or one of your gang members is seriously injured and they're near another person, then that person might panic. But you can just do a nerve test, or with Crimson Haze, they just automatically passed, which is again quite useful, especially if you're all bunched up together. So that one might be worth bringing. Frenzy is probably the one I would bring because you gain D3 attacks with -1 to hit. Now that might not sound great, but if you put that on the leader, which is already hitting on 2s, and you get a saw, yeah, watch him go to town. It's horrific. It's like watching the Chainsaw Massacre, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Though I wish there was just a film called The Chainsaw Massacre. Though saying that, the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre had one of the best scenes in it, where they're all on that bus and you just watch Leatherface clear out an entire bus. I loved that film, even if no one else does. That film was perfect. I don't give a shit about the story. That bus scene made the film. It's like Hobo with a Shotgun. The bus scene is the best scene in it. I won't say any more because it's quite disturbing, but I love the bus scene in Hobo with a Shotgun. It's so over the top and daft. Especially with the guy with the speakers. Oh, it's such a good scene. Such a good film as well. I highly recommend you watch it if you have the stomach for it. It's so dumb. It's such a dumb film, but I can't help but love it. I'm taking you to hell, and you're riding shotgun. It's such a dumb film, but I love it. Anyway, Killing Blow. You can opt to roll a single Killing Blow attack instead of a normal one. This attack can't be made with a sidearm. If hit, doubles the strength and damage. That one is a bit brutal if you put it on your leader and you have a buzzsaw. No armor save can be made. Basically cuts through your armor like warm butter. But you might be wondering, what is the band skill? I present you Slaughterborn. Add +1 move for every unsaved wound inflicted against an enemy with a melee weapon. Lasts for the rest of the battle. So, you might be wondering why this skill is banned, and why the Bounty Hunter, the Harvest Lord, isn't used. It's because the Slaughterborn rule makes you into an unstoppable killing machine. So, for example, if you're fighting, I don't know, Ogryns often have 3 or 2 wounds apiece. You have a leader, say a Chaos Cult leader with a saw. Wound an Ogryn down to, just wounds an Ogryn, gets rid of all 3 of their wounds. That is +3 to their movement. So they're now up to movement 8. They move on to other Ogryns. That quickly becomes movement 16. If you kill enough Ogryns, or if you're doing a big old game with cannibals, or like a free-for-all where it's one gang versus another, you put somebody with Slaughterborn, they can charge you without needing the D6, because your charge just becomes range 24 plus D6. Or my personal favourite that I've seen, charge 30 plus D6. It becomes pretty much unbeatable. And because it is charge 30 plus D6, you can have a ganger on top of a skyscraper. Watch that fucker charge up the skyscraper and kill that man with the might of Zeus and a sword behind him. It's broken beyond all belief. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't take this skill, because it is seen as too much. Because it is that broken. In fact, a friend of mine and I put a scenario where we wanted to see, like, who would win, like a bunch of cannibals, or one leader with a saw with an armored undersuit and plate mail armor, who would win in a fight. The leader did exceptionally well. He got all the way up to up to range, movement 40, 48, plus d6 to charge. And we actually put that in, like, terms of Warhammer, like Warhammer 40k. Someone that can charge 48 inches, that's the same as a las cannon. You're basically murdering everything off the board. There is no stopping you. You are God. And that is why the ability is banned. However, if you have friends that don't mind being absolutely abused, take it. As it is the best skill in the entire game. And though it might sound I'm overhyping it, because you might say, oh, well, don't worry, I can just pin him. Remember, you need to make a willpower check to target him. And also, unless you're rocking anything without, seismic or concussion, I think it's seismic that auto-pins you, then you are going to be stuck. Because other skills that you can take throughout the campaign, you might get more skills. If you get Nerves of Steel, yeah, that's just... It soon becomes the unpinnable, unkillable man of death. And it is just horrific to deal with. Not even a concussion rifle can save you, or even the heavy concussion rifle can save you. It is brutal, and I love it. I do like the Slaughterborn. I do like it. As someone that has had a go with Corpse Grinder Cults with this rule, I love it. Fighting against it, not a fan, but I do love using it. It's one of those abilities that you like, but don't be surprised if a lot of people will ban it. However, if you've got a few people that don't mind, then bring it. Honestly, it's really fun. There is some games where some people have banned it, some games where people haven't. It's one of those, depends on how serious you take the game. And obviously, you shouldn't treat the game like a heart attack, because it's Necromunda. And even with Slaughterborn, you're not immune to the Son of the Ash Wastes. Oh dear, that poor Harvest Lord. He got set on fire several times in one game. Oh, that was a really fun game. Oh dear, poor fucker. Deployed, just infiltrated, deployed near one of my guys and just got set on fire throughout the entire game. He didn't die, he just burnt to death. That was the weird thing, he didn't die, he just burnt. It's like he couldn't do anything, just kept burning. It's like, alright, you're dead yet? No. Alright. Cool. Anyway, I've been Idiotic Synergy, and I'll see you later. Remember, take care, stay safe, and look after each other. Bye for now, and cheers for watching. If you get to the end of this, it means a lot.